if you get very good at refining what you're pushing to the point where it's so good that people essentially form an addiction to the stuff you're pushing out, it's that good at converting their attention, is there an ethics issue when you get that good at essentially converting people that you give them addictions to the content versus the goal of converting them? Does that make sense? I think TikTok and Facebook do this really well.
Yeah.
They've gotten so good to the point of conversion where they almost give you an addiction. All right.
Yo.
We back.
What's up?
We back with another super secret Founders Drive.
All right.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit more about Claude Hopkins.
Yes, the godfather of scientific advertising.
Okay, you were talking about...
Oh, I was yapping.
About Steve Jobs, Claude Hopkins, and...
Yep. There's a difference
emotional
here.
and logic, appealing to emotion and logic.
Claude loves the logic.
And I want to get into this.
I feel like Steve is known for loving the emotion. And so, how would you see them in the same room trying to run a marketing campaign?
Okay, well, what prompted this? Like, what made you think about
in
this?
Scientific advertising? One of the things that Claude Hopkins talks about is to not lead your ads with emotion. Lead your ads with logic. Do it in a way that you're going to convince the person with logic that this is the right thing for you, this is why you need the product, X, Y, Z. That works in the 1900s and the 1800s. That works really well for his time period. Over the years, we've seen, I would say, a divergence in that line of thinking, where a lot more people are going into the emotion, the clickbait kind of content, which, don't get me wrong, it does follow Claude's rules in terms of whatever converts, use that. So like they're doing that, but it's also a little bit different because they're not really using logic, they're using emotion. The biggest one I thought about was the whole Think Different campaign, the iPhone release with Steve Jobs. I feel like he's seen as more of the emotional appealer in marketing, and so with that difference of opinion, I'm curious how you think about leading with emotion versus logic in advertising.
Well, I think that I don't think that the two contrast each other.
Okay, that's fair too. That's absolutely fair.
I think that emotions, when someone's acting emotional, I believe it's because you can still. So I think that emotions are a product of energy. How we allocate our energy. It's how we're allocating our energy in motion. So it's like how we're making choices is basically what I'm saying in motion. When we don't know how to make a subtle decision in a specific time, or we feel like we can't make a decision, then we start to act irrational. But we still have a logic to what we're doing. It's just that the foundation is a little bit more wonky. It's almost like if you can imagine a Jenga tower. Somebody who is making clear logical decisions has a really strong base, and they're building at the top, right? But if somebody is emotional, they're pulling from the middle and the bottom, and then they start to wave, and we see that effect, and we're like, oh, that person seems emotional. But they are still acting by some type of logic. It's just the logic isn't, at its strongest faculty right at the moment. So when I think about Steve Jobs, I still think that so there's two things though too. So that's just like my framework. But when I think about it, are we talking about appealing to logic? Or are we talking about appealing to or marketing with logic?
The goal would be converting people to buy whatever you're trying to sell. So appealing to whatever you're trying to get them to buy or sell using logic or emotion. I might be able to break it down another level too, in case it helps. Yeah. Unless you have an already answer.
I think another thing that I think too is Claude is also thinking about a different type of sale,
possibly,
which is a long-term sale that I'm not in the moment with you. I can't. You're not gonna make it's harder for you to make an impulse buy when you're doing it through direct response mail versus I'm hovering over a button,
Yeah.
and I just have to double tap.
Right.
And so
a little bit different mediums, yeah, for sure.
So I think that plays a little bit into it. And when you he was known for the whole reason why
Yep.
thing, right? And so maybe that's the logic gate that we're thinking about. But I think that you have to give the person who's going to make a purchase the reasons that they're going to tell themselves and justify to themselves when you're not around.
That was my next level of breaking it down.
Yeah.
Was I have a certain feeling of why I buy, then I have a certain feeling of why I justify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I might buy emotionally and justify logically,
Mm-hmm.
or I might buy logically and justify emotionally.
Yeah.
And I think they're not necessarily contrasting. They're playing on different parts of that experiment.
Okay, well, I think that buying is an emotional act.
Purely emotional?
Purely emotional. The reason why I say
Really?
that is because it's an energy movement.
Okay.
So you are spending energy to make a purchase that you think will offer you more security, stability, resources for protection and survival at the
Okay.
core of it.
Okay.
And it's an emotional decision. I'm allocating my energy. It happens, but I think the justification before and after is the logic part. So if somebody is emotional, meaning that they're already in a position where they're not allocating their energy in a way that benefits them in the short and long term and maximizing that, then it's easier to get them to buy because you don't have to give them much logic. You just have to give them logic that sounds kind of good and doesn't really hold up. But
Okay.
if you are trying to get somebody who is in a good emotional state, or at least can recover and sleep on it,
Yeah.
and it's a more of like you're removed from the purchase, then somebody who really values the ability to justify when they're acting emotionally, then you do need to give all the reasons why.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's a little bit different in terms of that buyer
Yeah.
and that conversion.
But we do live in a time right now, to your point, where if you bring Claude Hopkins in a situation right now, you might lose money trying to convince somebody, and then just being like, hey man, this is just the clearest path forward. Bye.
Yeah. Just leaving it all on the table.
Just buy down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one in terms of the emotion versus the logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, yeah. Anything else you want to say on that?
Well, it's an interesting concept because it does bring together, like I don't know, the whole logic emotion thing that's never really made sense to me. Just because it's like it's so like you can't find somebody who doesn't ever get emotional, and even when you're emotional, you still say things that have logic, but
there's no pure logic or pure emotion.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, to put them in contrast to each other, I'm like, that never really sat well with me. And then also you can sound logical when you're actually emotional.
Yeah.
And then vice versa, you can be emotional while you are still logical.
Yeah, there's no pure feelings.
Yeah.
And so trying to isolate that, I would agree with that. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But sales, I do think, in advertising is an emotional thing more and more. Because people can understand the logic, but if they're not spending the energy to go and get what they want in the form of the actions and the money, then you're not going to make a sale. You can they can get it logically and intellectually, but if they're not spending the energy and doing that, then they're not doing that. So I've just grown to appreciate that sales is an emotional thing, but said another way is sales is directly dependent on somebody spending their energy to get what you are giving them, or you're trying to give them.
So that might be something that, the whole Claude scientific advertising, that's something he does call out, is like use logic to convince people. So it might be something that worked in his time, or it was like a thought of like, oh yeah, people are logical. But now we've known for a lot of years, people are emotional.
But I don't think they're in contrast. So it's like you go, people are logical. So what is your logic is the next thing that you need to be asking. And what he says is a lot of times people are like self-centered. and not as a slight. It's just what it is. Like people are worried about themselves. They have an image of themselves that they want to protect, and the best way to communicate with those people is you offer service, because the way a lot of people's logic works is not in a removed, cold way. It's okay, I need to survive first. That's my first building block in logic.
Yeah.
That's my first axiom. I need to survive. If I survive, then I can do, I need to survive first.
I guess, well, that to me feels like an emotional, I need to survive feels emotional to me. I guess when I'm talking logic, I'm thinking like specs.
Yeah.
And like, oh, the car goes 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, but logic is but logic is reasoning. It's
right.
And that's why I'm like, it's been told to us that logic inverse emotion, it's been contrasted that way. But when you like look at it, like the practice of logic, if I take a logic class, I'm going to set assumptions and then I'm going to reason from those assumptions.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what people do. So people are logic. People are logical all the time. People have bad logic. But people are logical, and I think part of it is like finding what's logical to the person. And I think one thing that he still hits on the head is like, people are gonna start with their own needs first, and then you offer service to complement those needs. And I think we see that through line with somebody like Jeff Bezos, where he's like customer obsession. I'm gonna offer the things that you will, as a customer, will always start your logic and reasoning around. Even if there's competing logics, even if there's competing logics out there, there's starting with, like, for instance, Jeff Bezos with convenience and speed are things that people want. And so
that's true.
When they're logic, it's like there's a toddler in an adult mind that's like, I want it now. I want it now.
Right.
And we should be doing our logic, basing our logic off of that.
But yeah, and obviously, like, a child who's saying I want it now is a very emotional ask, and so they definitely play off each other.
Yeah,
they definitely. Nothing is isolated.
Yeah, but emotional ask meaning that they're willing to verbally. But I would. Okay, here's something interesting. It's an emotional ask, but when we say emotional, if we substitute that with a child will spend their energy demanding something right now,
versus an adult probably shouldn't or wouldn't.
But an adult will, when you actually watch what they do. So if you that's why Amazon is so big,
because you're saying like they may not say it, but their actions will prove it.
The way that they spend their energy through their actions, which is a big energy spend, or their money, which is stored energy.
Right.
The way they spend shows that they are doing that. I want it now. I want it now. And you actually see it. Let's really go back. If somebody doesn't get their order on time,
it's pretty bad.
People get mad. Oh my God, it's not here. And I can, lay out a whole litany of words that I people would use. And I feel it too. I'm just like, bro, there's this one lady, and
hopefully she's not watching.
She was an older lady, and I used to work at this as a security guard in this hospital. But it's just such a funny story, because she was an older woman in her like 60s, 70s. She was like sick, and her body was deteriorating. But she was I'll never forget. She asked me for hot chocolate, or coffee at night. Yeah. And I was like, it's a little bit late. She was like, I want my coffee, okay? So I was like, okay, I'll get you your coffee. Yeah. So I went, I got her the coffee, or I put the order in for the coffee. The lady came, brought her the coffee. She drank it, spit it up, and she was like, is this coffee? And I was like, yeah, that's what you asked for. That's what you asked for. She was like, why would I ask for coffee at 10 p.m. right now? Are you an idiot? Are you stupid? She was like, I asked for hot chocolate, okay? She's like, can you do anything right? Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Oh my God. But like, the feeling was there. She was just like, look, man, like, so like that's one thing, is that I think a lot of our logic today removes how primal we are as people. And I think that that's something that he appeals to. And so I think through that lens, it's like, okay, understand who you're dealing with first, and then reason from there and appeal to that.
I do like that fundamental. I think there is a trap that some people fall into where they think that they're purely logical. They go, no, I'm logical.
Like I'm Vulcan.
I'm objective.
I'm objective.
I'm objective. I'm logical.
What's the object?
I'm not an emotional type of decision maker. It's like, you have to realize everyone's an emotional decision maker.
So it's like, do you make decisions and never do anything about it? Like never spend your energy to go and act on your decisions? Or do you just sit and, logic your way in your Vulcan brain?
Yeah. You know? So I had one more thing to cover, unless you had anything else you want to go over. Is the convergence of ethics and conversion. So so in scientific advertising, one of the things that Claude talks about is find the thing that converts and double down on that, just like any good advertiser. Find the thing that works and do more of it. But then there's this ethics play where it's like, if you're pushing content to the point where, okay, so here's a good example. If you get very good at refining what you're pushing to the point where it's so good that people essentially form an addiction to the stuff you're pushing out, it's that good at converting their attention, is there an ethics issue when you get that good at essentially converting people that you give them addictions to the content versus the goal of converting them? Does that make sense? I think TikTok and Facebook do this really well. Yeah. They've gotten so good to the point of conversion where they almost give you an addiction.
That's what a lot of people are debating right now too.
I think there is a solid argument to say that some people don't have a strong enough will for the content that's being put out right now, and they will doom scroll the rest of their life. And so it's like that ethics of like, it converts, but is it the right thing to do?
The ethics of conversion.
Yes. Is there any thoughts you had on that?
Well, let's scale this up a little bit.
Scale it up.
Is because it's marketing, right? It's like what are the ethics of marketing?
Okay. Yeah. What are the ethics of marketing? Should I be able to market to you? I feel like it's totally wasted space, even though it's proven that it works. Like all these billboards. I don't need to know that there's McDonald's every mile. I know there's a McDonald's every mile marker. Yeah. But billboards are proven to work, so they continue to do these things. I mean, I absolutely hate ads in every form, on YouTube, on Netflix, and soon to be in ChatGPT. Yeah. I hate ads with a passion, but they keep pushing them. They keep spending trillions of dollars on them to try and get me to buy. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's necessary.
Why do you think it's necessary?
I think it's necessary. I think it's not a matter of the ethic.
And what is necessary, I guess, should be the first question. What is necessary? When you say it's necessary.
Well, so the first is that I think the techniques are extremely powerful. Marketing, advertising.
Sure.
But it's also necessary to get and promote ideas.
It's necessary to promote ideas.
It's necessary to promote ideas.
I think that's right, but is it necessary to promote products? Is it necessary to promote?
I don't think conversion in and of itself is a bad thing. I think it's good communication.
Okay.
I think if you are communicating and leading somebody astray, then that's unethical. But converting itself, marketing itself, it's primal. I think it speaks to who and what we are. So we're social beings. Marketing to me is just being social with some intent. Yeah. And saying, hey, I want to communicate this message to a market. I want to learn from this market. I want to research this market of people that are buying and selling and exchanging things. And so there's a good way to do that and there's a bad way to do that. And I think the good way to do that, what can be scary, is how effective it actually is. Yeah. How good you can actually get at converting people when you give people what they want in that moment. Now, the ethics then are around, hey, if you do something you didn't intend, can you steer people back? That's a different conversation. And that's where I think the ethical back and forth is. But in and of itself, converting people effectively and marketing effectively, so it'd probably be like advertising effectively and marketing effectively, I think in selling, is a good
Necessary.
thing. It's necessary and it's a good thing.
Okay.
But I think that the people that misuse that is where it gets, you know.
Yeah, like what, and it's hard to say, and that's I think why a lot of these lawsuits are happening. Is like, who's to say that you scrolling on my app is bad for you? You know what I mean? Like if that's my goal is to keep you engaged, keep you scrolling. There's nothing inherently bad about that. I'm not harming anybody. I'm not causing any violence. But there's probably a societal impact that's going to happen when all these kids can't take a math test because it doesn't scroll for them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting. I think there is like a very, very powerful weapon in advertising and marketing, and it's all about like how it's being aimed, how it's being used. It's like being used every single day, every single second.
There's a negligence there. That's probably the word that I would use. There's a negligence.
What do you mean by negligence there? Like
there's a negligence,
like for the greater good, or like what? Because they don't have any. You know what I mean? Like they're not required to make you a better person.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about negligence in terms of marketing and advertising.
So do I think that the way that some of the bigger social media tech companies are
capturing your
is I think there's a little bit of negligence in that I don't think their aim was, I think they have a different aim, and they didn't understand how big some of the consequences would be. They saw them as negligible when they were building the tools, because you didn't know that this was going to be a huge, like, have that huge of an effect. But
okay.
So they were like, we're not going to think about that as much. But now that I think it has been something that has been around now, I'm like,
because I have another. Because I would agree with that, right? There is some kind of responsibility there, possibly. I guess we don't know. That's what the courts are for.
Yeah.
The next question is, do you think McDonald's was negligible in introducing such fantastic fries to the world? Because technically, it's a great product. Yeah. It's not very healthy for you.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world knows what a McDonald's French fry tastes like.
Yeah.
Were they negligent? You know, like, is it that same type of negligence? If it's something like that, versus my doom scrolling algorithm from TikTok or YouTube or whatever.
Well, I'll say this. Like, one thing is that I don't think that we have so if we're talking and stretching the ethics out of it, you could say that it's negligible, like, or it's negligence on the part of making something that's super addictive where it's causing all of these different.
Well, because the foundation is do the thing that converts. That's the thing we're talking about. Do the thing that converts.
Do the thing that converts.
French fries convert.
Yeah.
They convert really well. McDoubles convert really well. I mean, you look at me. But they convert.
So that's the argument you could make. But then let me throw the other thing.
Yes.
And throw the other argument over here is, if you're being honest about what it is, then that's on the consumer.
The customer. Yeah.
And that's a big thing. It's like you can't go around and account for consequences that haven't happened yet. And a big part of it is, well, what do people want to do?
Yeah.
You can go and customize your algorithm to give you what you want, but do you really want what you think you want? And that's something where it is like, given enough freedom to go and choose your media.
Yeah.
And when you have all the options in the world, what do people gravitate towards?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a real argument to say that it's not the platform, it's the person
buying on the platform,
using the platform. So there's arguments on both sides. I think the strongest argument for somebody who says these tech platforms are have a net bad effect on society
and stuff like that
is negligence. I think that's the strongest claim that you can make. Like, hey, you guys are out here trying to, you know, operate this tech business, but you're not taking into account how all of these externalities are happening based off your product.
I don't think it's malicious. Because that's the other, you know, that's if you go even farther.
Yeah, well,
yeah, like, you're malicious about this.
And I think the malicious part is the part where you would really, you'd have a hard time proving that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then, there's just so much benefit that people have from these things that, like, it would never be able to, like, actually go through.
Yeah.
So I think negligence is probably the strongest cause, and then it's like, okay, well, what are you guys doing about it? And you do see a lot of advances on what people are doing about it in terms of
that's true
protections here and there. It's in varying degrees, but that's the strongest argument I think you can make on one side. On the other side, I think it's, look, man, we provide a service, we tell people what their service is, and they can either buy it or not. We provide fries.
It's not my fault they convert so high. It's not my fault I'm so good at advertising and marketing.
But you could even say that good advertising and marketing isn't just the technique of the person. It's good advertising and marketing, according to our boy Hopkins, is giving people what they want.
It's not my fault you want French fries.
Right? Are you not entertained?
Maybe you should want a salad.
I mean, there's a reason why 50 Cent always gets in beefs and then puts his product next to it.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting in terms of that. So I think the bottom line here is, like,
even John McAfee, we talked about last week, he said people like a certain degree of risk and uncertainty and not knowing what's going to happen and
chaos.
And so it comes to that point where if you give that to people, because that's really what they want, given the choice, they might not say it, but they'll dedicate.
That's where their energy goes.
Yeah. So saying something is a very low energy expenditure. It's high leverage if you know how to use it.
Right.
But just the words on its own without a tangible action is faint. It's not strong. So if people are acting and saying, yeah, I'm saying this, but you know, I go and do all these other things.
I hate my scrolling.
Yeah,
I hate my doom scrolling.
It's like something you've determined in your value list, and we said this on the public episode, so maybe we can squeeze this in over the next minute or two. But you've determined in your value list that the thing that scrolling is a better trade-off than doing something that you would probably benefit you in the long run.
Right.
And that's just how you reason. And I think when we talk about values, that's why values are so important, is because values determine people's logic. And how they actually reason. And everybody has different values. They're just a list of different check boxes, and if something's missing there, their logic will be coming from that. And that's an important thing to take into account when you're trying to serve somebody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Watch just one more thing, because you're basically when you're serving somebody, you're serving their values. They're saying, this is what's important to me. And so you go over, you offer service. This is in scientific advertising. And you're basically, when you're offering service, you're going to somebody else's value list and saying, what's important to you? Usually what's important to that person is me and my feelings. And then you offer that person service. And then if they do that, if you help them check their boxes, they feel a sense of pleasure. That's just the way the body is designed.
They get that reward, and then they feel better about reciprocating.
And they're like, oh my God, you made me feel so good. When people are in that state, they take my money. Take it.
It's what's, I think, a bottom line here that I feel like is a through line is the scientific advertising and marketing is so powerful that you can literally have people forming habits like a cigarette smoker without the physical item of a cigarette. That's how powerful this stuff is. You have people with physical addictions without a physical item to be addicted to.
That's crazy.
They're physically addicted to a digital item. That's where we're at right now, because that's how powerful you can get when converting with scientific advertising.
My God, yeah, that's a good place to cap it right there. No kidding. Okay. All right.
Send that out.
Let's leave that right there. This is going public for a little bit. All right. If you want more of this, please check us out on Constance.com.
That's right.
You're going to be able to find all of these different Founders Drive items, but also subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts on this founder, or thoughts on other founders that you want us to dive into. Even if we've done a founder before, but you want us to do another angle, let us know.
Too, yeah.
You know, we're here to research. We're here to be of service. We're here to take the information that some of the greatest minds have put out there, and we're here to communicate that to you. But we're also testing this stuff.
Real time,
we're putting that, you know, we're trying to put it into action, so that way when you say, oh, it sounds good, but does it actually make sense for me to do? Well, you have an example of some people right here
that are doing it,
that are actually doing it. And again, this is for you. So you let us know what you want, and we're happy to help.
Hell yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.